Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of the CDC Experience, the Father's Day edition. I am Sertura Schumann-Smith, Program Manager here at the CDC of Tampa, and I am pleased today to welcome an incredible woman here as our special guest, Dr. Lauren Huff. Welcome, Lauren.
Thank you so much for having me today.
I am very pleased to have you. I know we've been going back and forth about getting you on the show, and the last time you and I talked, we had a conversation. I was like, perfect for June, perfect for Father's Day. So welcome to the CDC Experience. So Lauren, let's get right into this Father's Day edition. So tell us about, you started an organization called Daughters Need a Father Incorporated. So tell me, I know you said it started in 2011. So tell me, what inspired you to start this organization?
I have a daughter who grew up without her father. My father was incarcerated the first 10 years of my life. I had a daughter around 21. Her father was murdered before she was born. I saw similarities in the way that she acted out in comparison to the way I acted out as a young person. I tried to find organizations to help me with her. There weren't any organizations for girls without fathers. There were a lot of organizations for boys without fathers, mentorship opportunities, but there was nothing for girls. And so that's the reason why I started Daughters Need a Father Incorporated.
You know what? I want to say I love that, but I'm listening to the story of how. So I can't imagine what growing up without a father who was incarcerated would be like. And then to say that your daughter's father was murdered. You know, so that's trauma. That's all around. So it's in you, and now it's been passed down, not intentionally, but onto your daughter. So Father's Day is coming up Sunday, June 21st. And most people look at that as a joyful celebration. You know, everybody wants to celebrate dad. But what about those whose fathers are not around? I can only imagine how difficult that can be. And I think people tend to dismiss that. You know, we're all celebrating Mother's Day and it gets all of the hype, or when people who don't have mothers, they're sad on that day, you know, or melancholy. But what about the daughters without their fathers? And why is it important for society to recognize that difference?
There are over 18.2 million children in the United States growing up without fathers. So that's one in every four child.
Okay.
One in every four.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all need to be inclusive, and we need to think about that percentage who do not have fathers in the home.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's actually painful to go to school, and then the school is having you do Father Day's cards for a father that doesn't exist. So with my mother's father, he abandoned the family. My grandmother had 6 children. He told, my grandmother was a stay-at-home mom. She says, well, how am I going to support the family? He told her to go get on welfare. So my mother did not have a father during her teenage years. She had me at 17.
Okay.
Then my father was in prison, but even when my father got out of prison, he had no interest to be a father. He was running the streets. I remember at 15 years old, I was trying to find him. I wanted that relationship so bad. And I talked to him and I said, I want you in my life. And he said, why? Don't bother me. I don't love you because you never gave me a reason to.
Oh my gosh.
So just imagine being a teenager, how that impacted me. I didn't have any self-worth. I did not know how to be loved. And so going into adulthood, choosing the wrong people, because I didn't have that blueprint of what to look for in a man.
And I'm listening to you, Lauren, and it's generational. So this was from grandma to mom to you to your daughter. And you said about those things that, you know, making those Father's Day cards, or somebody saying, what are we going to get dad for Father's Day? But also, and this is not to knock anything that anybody does, but the father-daughter dances. You know, what happens when a little girl does not have that father to be there to take her to something like that?
I love that question. So Daughters Need a Father Incorporated, we advocate for girls growing up in father-absent households. We also do workshops for single mothers to help their daughter reach their full potential. So in that advocacy work, you said father-daughter dance. So our organization write letters to the radio station who just hosted a father's daughter dance a few months ago to let them know about the percentage of girls who can't participate in that. And the feedback that I get back is, well, have an uncle take them. That's not the same.
Exactly.
It's a very insensitive comment.
Exactly. And I think in society too, and again, I'm loving this conversation because it's making me think more about that absentee father, because it's almost like it's the norm now. People ask questions as if father's not there. Like it's like, I know you don't have a dad, or oh, are you raising a child by yourself? That's almost like a norm. So my next question for you is, what impact does a father's absence have on single mothers who are raising their daughters on their own?
I mean, if you think about the stress that could be on that single mom, having to provide for not only herself, but also that child, having to feed that child, having to clothe that child. There's a lot of times when you have a two-parent household, there actually, money coming in and you have other income. But if that mom is only working and she may not earn that much money, it could be stressful. So with my mother and me, it was an emotional disconnection.
Okay.
She was extremely stressed out. She was trying to make the ends meet. And I remember often her feeding us, my sister and I, and not eating because she didn't know if there's going to be enough food for us.
So let me ask you this too. And I'm telling you, you got me with some questions in my head that's not on this paper. First, let me say this. How can somebody connect with you if they want to learn more about Daughters Need a Father Incorporated? Tell our audience how they can connect with you.
Sure. If you go to the internet and just type in Dr. Lauren Huff, all my contact information will come up, and you can contact me that way.
And that's Huff, Huff.
Correct.
Can you show up your book, the first one? I believe it's the one you do with the workshops.
Yes.
Can you let our audience see
This
that?
book is called A Guidebook for Single Mothers Raising Daughters. Whenever I go out and do workshops, this is the book that I bring with me. It on the last page has a place where you can think and journal.
Okay. Thinking and journaling.
Yes.
Sometimes the mind can just expand when we start to get into that quiet place and think and journal. And I think journaling is a wonderful mental health, emotional wellness tool. But again, Daughters Need a Father is, I think, an incredible idea. So again, if somebody wanted to do a workshop, tell me what's generally your audience. If somebody wants to say, I want her to come and do a workshop.
I would be more than happy to come out and do a workshop. I do feel like this work is my purpose. I don't think that God would have taken me through all the things I've gone through if it wasn't meant for me to glorify Him and help other people. Just contact me and I will be there to do the workshop.
Do you have a website?
Sure. If you just go on the internet and do Dr. Lauren and Huff, it'll take you to my website. And you can just message me from there and I will get back with you.
Or you can always reach out to the CDC of Tampa and go to our website to see this video, as well as on all social media platforms. That's cdcoftampa.org. So, Lauren, let me ask you another question. Do you think that a girl can fully thrive and reach her full potential even if there's no father in the home?
I do, and I think that's my testimony. I think that you have to do your work. You have to heal what's hurting you. I hear people sometimes when the daughter acts out, it's because she doesn't have a word or language to express how she's feeling, and so she emotes. So the first thing you got to do is heal, but you have to identify it first.
Okay.
And understand why you're acting out, and then heal from that. And you can heal in so many different ways. With me, I found a therapist. And one thing about therapy I think is very important.
Okay.
It's kind of like dating. You might go to one. If it's not a good fit, do not give up. It took 4 therapists to get me to the other side. The fourth therapist, I would talk like I talked with all the other therapists. I would share my story. And one day she said to me, "You're healed and you don't have to come back." And I was like, "Why?" And she said, "Because you can tell your story and not have any emotion as if you're talking about someone else."
That is so funny that you said it. I think sometimes when it comes to therapy, especially in the African American homes, we don't want to do that. And so I'm sharing with you all out there and here now. I go to therapy, and it's like when you're able to talk about it without breaking down, that healing may not necessarily be complete because I think we're in a constant healing place, but it's now you're good because you can share your story. And Lauren, I heard something in church on Sunday, and the pastor said, your story is not meant to be kept. Your story, if you have a story and a testimony, it needs to be shared. People need to hear it so that they know, one, that they're not alone, that somebody else is going through this, and that, wow, if she can do this, I can do it as well, and be a support system to someone. Because I'm quite sure people see you. They see what's on the outside and say and think, oh, that didn't happen to her, or that didn't happen like she said it happened. But people, there's so many masks that we wear, and I know you have a book about that, taking off the mask. Can we see that?
Sure. When the mask comes off, what you do, you find yourself in a toxic relationship.
And let me ask you that, but how the absentee father is probably the reason the relationships were toxic. Am I saying something that's true or not?
When you said something about the mask, when you said that, in the relationship, I did not see the red flags. Because initially I saw what he wanted me to see in the relationship.
Okay.
So it took some time for the mask to come off where I saw the real person.
You saw the real you.
Oh. People say you choose who you mirror.
You saw the real you when that mask came off. I think, now I'm not a therapist, folks, as a disclaimer. That's just, I'm listening to you. So the mask is there for others because we want to give them what we think they want. But I think when that mask comes off, we also reveal to ourselves who we are. And you and I talked earlier before the program started about the traits that you saw without that father in the home. You go looking for that which you think you missed out on.
Yes.
So one more question. Let's see. What are some of the emotional challenges that girls face when growing up in a father-absent home?
Well, everyone's different, so I don't want to say it's all the same. But for me and my daughter, from what I've seen, it's just the lack of self-esteem, not really knowing your worth, not feeling like you're worthy of love because your father wasn't there to give it to you. And you think, okay, if he didn't love me or if he didn't love me enough to stay, why would anyone else love me? And so you're just trying to get love. You know how I heard people say she has daddy issues,
Yes,
trying to find
yes.
love in all the wrong places. There's some truth to it.
And the hurtful thing, what I heard you say, your father verbalized that and said, I don't love you, so why do you want to be in my life?
Yes.
So that would be lingering
Yes.
trauma.
Yes.
That would always be in the forefront of my head, that somebody actually said that to me. And again, I am so grateful to have you on the program because this is a really great conversation that I think that we don't often have, because there are a lot of conversations we don't want to have. So I have a closing bonus question
I want to
for you.
add something.
Sure, go ahead.
So the thing about my father, my whole life, he was never really present, never got to call him birthdays, anything. It wasn't until I was in my 40s, married with children, I get a call. So I didn't know the number. I answered the phone, and I asked, who is this? And it's my father on the phone.
Wow.
And he says, well, I'm getting older now, because he has to be like in his mid-60s. I'm getting older now, so I need to get to know you because I need someone to take care of me soon.
Well, okay. This is a PG-rated show, so I don't know what my response to that, Lauren, would have been. And you know what? I can't say it would have been anger. I don't know what the response would have been, because a part of me would have been, oh my God, this is that dad that I've been looking for, searching for. And is there a possibility that there is something there? But then the other side of me would, my head would just be, did he just say, take care of him?
Yes.
But so how did you handle that?
Well, you can read I Chose to Be Victorious.
Okay. Okay. So I mean, that's a great. I mean, and that was spiritual for you, correct?
Well, the spiritual part is because at that point I am a believer and I know the Bible says honor thy mother, thy father. So yeah, that was a very challenging moment for me. Like, am I being tested?
Yes.
I better make the
Yes.
right decision if I
Yes.
want favor from the Lord, right?
Yes.
So yes, I did feel like I was being tested that day.
Yes, and that probably would have been mine too. Like, oh my. Okay, last question before we go. And folks, again, thank you so much for joining the CDC Experience. Again, I am Satura Schumann Smith, and my guest today has been Dr. Lauren Huff, who has an organization called Daughters Need a Father Incorporated. You can find her information on our website after this podcast, or you can Google Dr. Lauren, Lauren, Huff, Huff. Lauren, last question. If our listeners can remember only one thing from today's conversation, what would you want that takeaway to be?
I want that takeaway to be if your child or your daughter is acting out, do not let anyone label them and say that they are bad. Talk to your child, find someone that they can talk to, and find out what is the real reason for the acting out. So never label your children.
Thank you. And again, thank you, audience, for tuning in to the CDC Experience. Thank you, Dr. Huff.
Thank you.